39. This links to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. I don't want to go all the way through it because we have to just hit little small points to get to the point. So we're not going to go into a long study on each detail of how the 12 tribes got to America, or the 10 tribes got to America. But in the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, it talks about a people that went over the waters into the New World. And these people are the children of Israel. So we're just going to touch on that. Then we're going to get back to the times. Go to 2nd Esdras 13 and read 39 on down.
2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
Those are the 10 tribes who were carried away prisoner out of their own land. Now, when you read 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, it lets you know King Hosea, which was an Assyrian king, and today that would be the land of Syria, Syria. The Syrian or Assyrian king took the children of Israel down, took down what we would call the northern kingdom. Ephraim, which is today we would call the so-called Puerto Rican, was over the northern kingdom. Read.
In the time of Hosea the king.
At a time of who?
Hosea the king.
Hosea the king. Now what happened was the people were taken out of the northern kingdom, and the Assyrians put Africans in the land and different tribes in the land instead of the people of the land, instead of the children of Israel. That's why you have what we would call Phoenician Jews today, or Ethiopian Jews today. Read.
Whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
So came they into a new land. Read.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves.
I need you to go back and read that again, the last part.
Verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, and they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
So they counseled, the wise men of the 10 tribes counsel among themselves that they would leave the occupation of the heathens. Heathens only mean Gentiles, non-Israelites. So now they're leaving the Assyrians. Read.
And go forth into a further country.
Go into a further country. Read.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind dwelt. So they were coming over to what we would call today the New World. Now we know that they are the first inhabitants of that land, because the European powers and others thought that the world was flat. They thought that if you go but so far, the ships would fall off of the ends of the earth. Not that they weren't smart. They tried to send ships out there, and the ships never would return. So to them, they understood, if you send ships out there, they're not coming back. So they must be falling off the ends of the earth. That's what they thought. But the Most High made the waters rumble, made storms, and made different types of disasters to stop other nations or heathen nations from getting over to the land before the promised people get over to the land. That land was promised to his people. So he used what you would call today natural disasters, and storms and hard waves to stop ships from coming over the waters. Read.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
So they went into a country where no mankind dwelt, which is the New World, Americas. Read.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
They will keep these statutes in which they never kept in their own land. Now we understand the archaeology and some of the old Hebrew Israelite rituals that are in the burial grounds of the North American Indians. Look at what the Mexicans wore in the past. Look at what the North American Indians wore in the past. The fringes. They were starting the customs that was given to their people at Mount Sinai. Read on.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Go ahead.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
They went through the Euphrates, around into Africa. Read. Around Africa. Go ahead.
Verse 44. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood.
See that? He held still the flood. He stopped it from raining. He stopped the storms. He made sure the waters stayed calm the whole trip. Read.
Till they were passed over.
Until they were passed over. He didn't let the other nations go over, but he let the children of Israel come over, which is Bible prophecy. And mind you, in the book that Ronald Sanders have called Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands, it tells us in this particular book, and this is a European that got this book, that wrote this book, a European Jewish man, mind you, that Christopher Columbus himself used what they called his diaries. It was written of in his, these diaries were his memoirs or his diary. And he had 2nd Ezra the 13th chapter written in his diary to let the queen know that there was a fertile land and the people over there would serve her if they paid him to get to them. It was in the diaries. He used these scriptures and say, listen, if you build me the right boats, I can get to them. There's people there, there's land there that's flowing with milk and honey. So the Catholic Church and all of them got together, the Jesuits and the Catholic Church, they constructed their finances to build the best boats so that they can conquer this new world that's written of in the scriptures. Read.
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years.
And it took our brothers 1 year and a half to travel on water to get to the Americas. And as they went, they were able to drop off tribes in each area according to the people, according to the tribes. They went to what the land we call Cuba today. They dropped off what you would call Cubans. They went in all these different areas. They went to Puerto Rico and dropped off Ephraim. They went into the Americas and dropped off the North American Indians. North America and in Canada. That belonged to the North American Indians too. Over the borders, over the mountains, was fertile land. They gave the Colombians, which are Asher. They gave fertile land to the Mexicans, which are Issachar, the seers of the times. The Most High gave them that gift. And while they were there, they built constructs of the times. Later on, they started falling to the same gods our people fell to in the past. Started paying tribute to the fallen angels. But before then, they originally came over to the Americas to serve the Most High. It's in the Apocrypha. The Catholic Church know this. They know this. And they'll tell you, well, don't look at the Apocrypha. It's not spiritually inspired. It's not right. It's not real. Why? Because it identifies God's people and God's people's purpose. It also identifies them putting up a counterfeit to be Jesus Christ. Read on. Let's see what else the Issacharites and the 10 tribes knew. Read.
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
It took 1 year and a half. Go ahead.
And the same region is called Ozareth.
It's called Ozareth. Ozareth means hidden land. That's what Ozareth means. So the name of that country is not America. The name of that country north of America is not